Chandra Sabhavatara Saracharamani Kevalananda Kanda Sabhavatara Saracharamani Bhaja bhaja bhai Chaitanya Nitaye Tadrudhave Swasakare Bhajo bhajo bhai Chaitanya Nitaye Visaya chadiya Sera se majiya Mukhe bolo hari hari Vishaya chadiya Sera se majiya Mukhe bolo hari hari Dekho re bhai Tribhuvan nahi Emanada Yalodata Dekho re bhai Tribhuvan nahi Emanada Yalodata Pasu pakhe jhure Pasana bedare Suni jara guna gata Pasu pakhe jhure Pasana bedare Suni jara guna gata Sansare majiya Lohili pariya Se podeno Dilo asa Sansare majiya Lohili pariya Se podeno dilo asa Apana karma Punjaye samana Kahaye lochana dasa Apana karma Punjaye samana Kahaye lochana dasa Parama karuna Pamudoye jana Nitaye gaura chandra Parama karuna Pamudoye jana Nitaye gaura chandra Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We'll sing another song from Saranagati again. What we sang today is by Narottam Das Thakur. But now we will sing from Saranagati, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song. This is the Saranagati, the fourth song. Amar Jivana Sada Paperata Naika Punyara Lesa. Amar Jivana Sada Paperata Naika Punyara Lesa. Parera Udvega Diachi Jekata Diachi Jivera Kesa. Nija sukha lagi pape nahi dori daya hina svatapara. Nija sukha lagi pape nahi dori daya hina para sukhe dukhe sada mithya bhasi para dukha sukha karo. Para sukhe dukhe sada mithya bhasi para dukha sukha karo. Asesa kamana Rudhi madhe mora Rudhi damba parayana. Asesa kamana Rudhi madhe mora Rudhi damba parayana. Mada mata sada Visaya mohita Himsa garva vibhusana. Mada mata sada Visaya mohita Himsa garva vibhusana. Midralasya hata Sukarja virata Akarja udyogiyami. Midralasya hata Sukarja virata Akarja udyogiyami. Pratistha lagiya Satya charana lobhata sadakami.
Pratishtaya Satyajaya Lobhavata Sadakami.
Yehena durjana sajjana varjita aparadhi nirantara.
Yehena durjana sajjana varjita aparadhi nirantara.
Subha karja sunya sadanartha mana nana dukhe jara jara.
Subhakarya sunya sadana bhavana nana dukhe jara jara.
Vardhakhyaye khana upaya bihina tate dina akinchana.
Bhadake kona upaya vina adevina kinchana.
Akate dinada prabhura charane kare dukha nivedana.
Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada Charane Kore Dukha Nivedana.
Dear devotees, we are all stressed. And this stress is nothing but our own creation of material knots. How we bind ourselves to this material world. More knots we bind, more stressed we become. And one of the way to release the stress, to accept how we are bound here. Just introspecting, meditating, and feeling liberated from that will make you relief from stress. Amar jivana sada paperato. Isn't it true? Our life is full of sin. Nahi ko punyara lesha. There is no divinity in any of my actions. Just meditate on it. You'll feel very light. Parera udvega diyachi jeketo. I've given others so much of anxiety. Parera udvega diyachi jeketo. Diyachi jivero klesha. So I've brought in a lot of anxiety to others. Also, I have caused a lot of miseries to others. Just think about it. To eat and cause of lot of torture in other living entities, even if I am a vegetarian. And because I want to show myself I'm the best, by hook or crook, obviously I have caused a lot of anxiety in others. As a teacher, I have not taught the children, so anxiety is there. As a father, I have not trained my children, a lot of anxiety is there. As a leader, I have fooled my followers. Nija sukha lagi, for my own sense gratification. Pape nahi dori. I don't fear sin. Daya hina swartha para. Daya hina. I have no compassion. And I am completely selfish. Para sukhe dukhe. When I see others are unhappy, I become happy. When others are suffering, I become happy. Sada mithyabhasi. Every word I speak is a lie. Every word I speak is a lie because none of my words ever describe the glories of Krishna. Para dukkha sukha karo. I rejoice seeing others suffering. Remember, when China was suffering the coronavirus, others were every day were looking at and laughing China's situation. Huh? Actually, I didn't know what is this corona. When I joined in TCS, these people were talking all the time. Today's death count is reached 1500, 1600, 1700. They were counting. But they were not thinking that virus will come and will attack us. Asesa kamana hrudi maje moro. My heart is bleeding with unlimited desires. That is my stress. I'm not a free bird. I'm not a free bird. Nothing is mine. Nothing is mine. Just this understanding will make you such a free bird. And simultaneously, when you see the divinity, the way it is being expressed within this material world, that is amazing. So, the moment I assume my proprietorship, then immediately asesa kamana, unlimited desires. Krodhe, and because so many desires are there, naturally I become angry. Dambha, proud, arrogant. Mada matta sada, mada, pride. Vishaya mohita. Everything in this world allures me. Dhana, Jana, Sundari, Kavita, Jagadisha, everything allures me, deludes me. Vishaya mohita. Himsa, Garva, Vibhushana. My ornaments are, I'm jealous of others. I'm full of pride. Nidralasya hata. I'm completely destroyed by nidra. sleep, alasya, laziness. Yeah, there are many who are bhakta of nidra. You tell them to sleep, they know how to sleep. They sleep so much, so they are so intoxicated to sleep. They don't know where are their head and where is their head and where are their heads and where are their legs. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sukarje Virata. I never planned anything connected to Krishna. Sukarje Virata. I have no interest in spreading the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Akarje Udyogiyami. Akarje. I want a PhD. I want CEO. I want, the other day one person was telling, in top 300 or 400 Fortune companies, 80% CEOs are from India. And he was telling, what he was telling? I'm missing the point. Anyway, I had remembered before this discussion and forgot. So, Akarje Udyogiyami. We are expert in many things that really does no good to the world. No good to the world. Pratishtha lagiya sathya acharana lova hata sada kami. To establish myself for my own fame and name, I can follow any path of crookedness. Lova hata, full of greed and lust. Being lusty, being greedy, I can follow any crooked method to establish myself, my name and my fame. Eheno durjana sajjana varjita aparadhi nirantara eheno durjana. I am the first class durjana. Because I am a durjana, wicked person. No saintly people look at me. They have rejected me. And I commit offenses again and again. Subha karja sunya. My life is completely devoid of Krishna consciousness. Sadanarthamana. My mind is full of anartha, vices. Nana dukkhe jara jara. And I am continuously drowned in misery. Varieties of miseries. Vardhakya ekana upaya vihina. None of you can understand this in this house, in this temple room except me. Because I only have gone beyond 50. Vardhakya ekana upaya vihina. That kind of dream I was thinking when I joined here, now nothing. Now I am thinking how stressless I can become and just chant my way back to Godhead. বার্ধক্যে এখানে উপায়বিহীনা. Old has crippled me. I don't see a way out. Tate dina akinchana. Dina akinchana. Dina. I'm extremely poor. Poor in spiritual life. Poor in spiritual intelligence. Tate dina akinchana. भक्ति विनोद प्रभुर चरणे. जय श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नृसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्रीला गिरिराज कृष्ण की, श्री श्री राधा रमन जी की, गौर प्रमानंदे हरि हरि. Can you get my medicine? I have not taken medicine. So, dear devotees, how true these are. Stress, anxiety, depression doesn't help us to progress in spiritual life. As we practice Krishna consciousness, somewhere we become victim of stress. Same boys I have seen once upon a time when they were able to dance very nicely, jubilantly, and look at their face. Same face, just looking at the face you can see whether this person is 100 quintal or 1 gram or 2 gram. Just looking at. The smiles are gone. Smiles are gone. Huh? Smiles are no more seen. Smiles are no more seen. What we see now? Instead, big stress. What is the stress? The moment we long for material life, it is stress. Very few, I was very polite when I was covering stress, dealing the stress, right? I was very polite. I didn't tell I didn't define longing for material life is stress. Did I say that? But I can tell to all of you, you long for material life, that is brute stress. I saw today Binayak Goyal. Is he there? That fellow has vanished actually. He was there. That fellow, he survived. He survived. So Stress is natural. But what is that stress by definition? Stress by definition is longing for a material life. When you search for Krishna consciousness, then your life will become successful. So, I have seen last 3 days, my life was actually hell. I didn't express. The reason is, expressing is of no use. No use. In this old age, you get a disease, you may always think, this is my last time. So this is a good part of being old. You surrender. You surrender. And try your best to remain Krishna conscious. The old age brings in real humility if a person can become humble. Because with old age, disease, and you have gone through all the illusion of big daydreaming. So those dreaming is no more. Because what happens to the daydreaming? Daydreaming makes you feel, oh, you are great. You have something big to achieve. Daydreaming. In old days, you don't dream. Daydreaming is of no use. 50 साल तक कुछ नहीं हो पाया, 50 साल के बाद क्या होगा? When time comes, you naturally surrender to Krishna. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, last 17 years he spent in Godrum Dev, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So writing, chanting, and of course one of the most important thing he did is identification of Mayapur. And then he built also the Yoga Pitha temple, which is still there now. So this is so in old days you like to retire, surrendering to Krishna. So now we will read from Chaitanya Bhagavata. Actually, we have to shoot a video because coming Sunday we are going to give a demo. So every day I am going to do one specific demo. So you need to picture it. different aspect I'm going to do. And I will say how the stress is killing. Stress kills us. So, and then you combine all those clips, or clips can be also separate. No issue. And then we can, because it is not possible to show the demo to them live. So it is better we record it, and then sequence wise I can go on showing the demo. Alright? Alright, so Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
So dear devotees, we were discussing when Mahaprabhu came back to Navadip, and he was enjoying his scholastic pastimes in the house of Sanjay Mukunda, and he was establishing the proper conclusion of the Shastra. What is the proper conclusion? Ante Narayana Smriti. Not only that, that which people learnt in 12 years in other Pathshala, they could learn in just 1 year in Nimai Pandit's Pathshala. Okay? And that is the time Sachi Mata was thinking of a suitable wife for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Navadip, there resided the most fortunate and compassionate devotee named Sri Sanatana Mishra. He was simple-hearted, magnanimous, expert in entertaining guests, always engaged in welfare activities. Moreover, he was truthful. He controlled his senses. He had a good birth. He was famous as the Raja Pandit. Sanatana Mishra hailed from a well-to-do family, so easily maintained many other people. So Sanatana Mishra was a very, very well-educated but well-off family person. Sanatana Mishra's daughter had all auspicious characteristics. She was like the personification of Lakshmi, the mother of universe. As soon as Mother Sachi saw her, she immediately thought that she was a suitable bride for her son. From her childhood, that girl took bath in the Ganges 2 or 3 times a day. She had no engagement other than serving her father, mother, and Lord Vishnu. She regularly met, offered her humble obeisances to Mother Sachi at the Ganges bathing ghat. A girl is best when she is obedient to her parents and she worships Krishna. That is all the quality of a good girl. Everything else are all nuisance. Mother Sachi happily blessed her, "May Krishna bless you with a suitable husband." Then as Mother Sachi took her birth, she thought, "May this girl be married with my son." Sanatana Mishra and his relatives also desired that she be married to the Lord. One day Sachi was inspired to call Kashinatha Pandita to her home. Thereupon, she said to him, "Dear sir, please listen to my request. Go tell Sanatana Mishra that if he desires, he may give his daughter to my son. Kashinatha Pandita immediately left for the house of Sanatana Mishra while chanting the name of Durga and Krishna. Seeing Kashinatha, Sanatana Mishra respectfully offered him an asam. Feeling greatly honored, Sanatana Mishra completed all formalities and inquired, dear brother, what brings you here? Kashinatha replied, I have a proposal for you. If you find it proper, then please accept it. Please give your daughter's hand in marriage to Vishwambara Pandita. I feel it is a perfect match. This qualified husband for your daughter, and your chaste daughter is a qualified wife for him. Vishnu Priya and Nimai Pandit are as suitable as a match as Krishna and Rukmini were. After hearing the proposal, Sanatana Mishra discussed it with his wife and relatives to find out their opinion. They replied, what is the need for further discussion? You should immediately arrange the marriage, because I don't think in Navadip anybody as popular as Nimai Pandit. The Raja Pandita then happily spoke to Kashinatha Pandita. O Brahmana, I will certainly give my daughter in marriage to Vishwambara Mishra. If my family is fortunate, then my daughter will be married to him. So please go there and inform them of my decision. I again confirm that I have accepted the proposal. Feeling satisfied, Kasinath Mishra returned to Mother Sachi and told her everything. Mother Sachi was pleased to hear that her proposal was accepted. She began to make necessary arrangement. When Lord's students heard news of his marriage arrangement, they were all filled with joy. Buddhimanta Khan was the first to speak. I will bear the entire expenditure of this marriage. Buddhimanta Khan was the Lord's neighbor and a staunch, rich, devoted Brahmana follower of the Lord. A description of Buddhimanta Khan is found in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 10.74 as follows. The 36th branch, Buddhimanta Khan, was extremely dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was always prepared to carry out the Lord's order. Therefore, he was considered chief servant of the Lord. One should also refer to Adi Khanda, chapter 12, verse 72. I am now remembering when we are preaching Krishna Consciousness Night in Delhi, there are many undergraduates, and they will see me, chief devotee aa gaya. Some respectfully, some sarcastically. Krishna has given enough. 93 to 2020, 23 years. I think life is full of juice. When the Lord married for second time with Vishnu Priya Devi, he stayed with the groom throughout the marriage ceremony, bore the entire expense of the marriage. This is explained in Adi Khanda, chapter 15, verse 69 to 220. His participation in Lord Sankirtan at the house of Srivasa Pandita and Chandrasekhar is described in Madhya Khanda, chapter 8, verses 111 to 13. His participation in water sports with the Lord and his associates after deliverance of Jagai and Madhai is described in Madhya Khanda. He is receiving the responsibility for arranging clothing and ornaments for the Lord when he enacted the pastimes of Mahalakshmi at the house of Chandrasekhar is described in Madhya Khanda. His meeting with the Lord at Santipura is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. His traveling with the devotees of Bengal to meet Lord in Puri is described in Antya Khanda. Many times I have contemplated when all these devotees are going from Bengal to Odisha, I try to feel that I am part of that contingent. What a contingent. Hundreds of moons. These devotees are extraordinary devotees, traveling every year from Bengal to Nilachal. Just think about that troop headed by or managed by Shivananda Sen. There is Raghav Pandita, there is Kulina Grama, people, Satyaraj Khan, then you have Sri Hatta people in that, you have the big shots like Nityananda Prabhu, Jagadananda Pandit, and Advaita Acharya. One time, all the Bengal devotees came with their wives. Just imagine. आजकल तो वाइफ को अगर तुम स्लीपर में ले जाओगे, स्लीपर में मुझे ले आया, ये तो बहुत गड़बड़ हो गया। स्लीपर में हैं, और वो तो पैदल जा रहे थे, पैदल। स्लीपर देखा नहीं था वो तो। They all came by walk. They all came by walk. We have done that. When in Baleshwar they say Bandhuasa. When we visit our relatives, so Bandhuasa means, Bandhu means relatives. Asa means they have come. So once we go, it's very fine because they come and they will take you. When return, and this is all by walk only. So it's not easy. But that meeting with the Bandhu is that meeting is so attractive. People are ready to take this, what is it called? Take this, the pain of walking. Right? Like for example, in my family we were 5 people. 6, 7 people. Of course, my father was not part, but my mother and we 5. Mother and my 5, 6 people, right? They have to carry. So we are all kids. So those bandhuas are those who will come and carry. Of course, my mother would walk. But we will be, sometime we'll walk, but at some point of time, they will put us in our shoulders. And it is always, the travel would start when there is full moon day. Not full moon, means Sukla Pakya, there are moonlight. So what they do actually, they would start around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, when sun has become almost, right? Like for example, from Thalsada to Talapada would be around 15 kilometers. So that much distance you have to walk. It's not easy. It is not Govardhan Parikrama. Giriraj will give you the inspiration. So they will be telling varieties of stories among themselves, and they will be carrying us. And particularly when you sleep, you become very heavy, right? And still they carry us. This is amazing, 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 amazing. So why we told this story? Because we were talking about the Bengal devotees 500 years ago. Those devotees walking from various parts of Bengal and gathering in Santipura, the place where Advaita Acharya is there. And from there they come as a group because Advaita Acharya is the main person, right? And with the families, everybody, this is amazing. There are families, they are coming. But why should not they come? They are going to meet Lord of their heart, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and double Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Jagannath. They will meet. अब ये देखो ये अभिषेक पंचल ऐसे कर रहा है, ये सब में मन नहीं है. मन कहाँ पे है? So why did I digress to Bengal devotees? Buddhimanta Khan took care of all the expenditure, but why did I divert to Bengal devotees traveling?
His participation in
Lord stayed.
He traveled with the
He's traveling devotees of Bengal to meet the Lord in
Mukunda Sanjay then said, "Listen, my dear friend, if you bear all expenses, then what will I do?" Buddhimanta Khan replied, "Listen, my dear brother, this marriage will not be like a Brahmana's marriage, which is generally very simple. I'll make such arrangement for the marriage of Nimai Pandit that he will appear like a prince in the eyes of the people. So I don't want a simple. Normally Brahmins, they do it like, and devotees they marry. It should be as simple as possible, right? So, but he said, no, I would like to make it a royal marriage." Thereafter, everyone agreed on an auspicious day, time to observe the Adivasa ceremony. A huge pandal was erected with banana trees placed in 4 directions. They decorated the marriage arena with water pots, ghee, lamps, rice paddy, yogurt, mango leaves, and other auspicious items. They further decorated the arena with designs drawn with colored powders. All the Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, and respectable people of Navadip were invited. Come in the afternoon, chew the pan of the Adivasa ceremony. In the afternoon on the day of Adivasa, the musicians all began to play their instrument. The playing of various instruments like mridanga, sanai, jayadhaka, kartalas created tumultuous sound. The professional blessers began to recite prayers, and chaste women made auspicious sounds. As the Brahmanas chanted Vedic mantras, Vishwambara, the crest jewel of Brahmanas, came and sat in their midst. The Brahmanas sat in the groups around the Lord in this way. Everyone was overjoyed at heart. Aguru, sandalwood paste, pan and flower garlands were brought out and offered to the Brahmanas. Garlands were placed on their heads. Their bodies were smeared with sandalwood paste. Each Brahmana was given a box of pan. Nadia was full of Brahmana families, so innumerable Brahmanas were present there. No one could count how many came and went. Among them, some greedy Brahmanas received their gifts and then returned a second time in different dress to again receive gifts. In the ensuing commotion, they thus received sandalwood paste, pan, and flower garlands the second time. Everyone was intoxicated with ecstasy and thus unable to recognize one another. The Lord also smiled and gave instruction. Give sandalwood paste and garlands 3 times to everyone. Don't worry about the expenditure. Give freely to everyone. By this instruction, the Lord indirectly forbade everyone from taking again and again. The Lord continued, if the Brahmana is caught cheating, he will be criticized and thus disgraced. So Mahaprabhu saw that people are coming again and again. So to save the Brahmanas, Mahaprabhu said, give everyone 3 times, so that they don't come second time. Actually, this someone in our Gurukul complained, his salary is less, and he's complained to Pragos Prabhu. So Pragos Prabhu wrote, some conversation was there, and Pragos Prabhu quoted the pastimes of Gopinath Patnaik in Changa. There, Prataprudra finally would double his salary so that he doesn't steal. Okay, so this is something that is a good practice, actually. Good practice. When you don't give minimum comfort to the people, then adulteration would be there, cheating would be there. And that's a different topic, so let's not worry. Being affectionate to Brahmanas, the Lord considered, if they are given 3 times, then they will be fully satisfied. All the Brahmanas were happy to receive those gifts 3 times, so none of them further tried to cheat. In this way, no one could understand how the Lord was served by Ananta Sesa in the form of garlands, sandalwood paste, and pan. What to speak of the gifts that people received? If the gifts that fell on the ground during distribution were collected, it would have been sufficient for 5 marriages. Everyone's heart was filled with ecstasy. They exclaimed the Adivasa ceremony was glorious. We have seen such an Adivasa ceremony performed even in the house of the wealthiest men of Navadip. We have never seen anyone distribute sandalwood paste, garlands, and pan so indiscriminately. Carrying an ingredient Adivasa ceremony, Sanatana Mishra joyfully arrived. He came accompanied by Brahmanas, family members, musicians, dancers, and singers. Following Vedic injunctions, he then happily applied sandalwood pulp to the Lord's forehead at an auspicious moment. At that time, there arose tumultuous chanting in glorification of Lord Hari. Everyone began reciting mantras. Chaste omen made auspicious sounds of uludhvani. Anybody can do that? No Bengali? अरे उड़ू उड़ू कर रहा है
Hare Krishna sir, Bhagavad Gita.
Vapi Sarkar is doing.
Yes sir.
So जय श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्रीला गिरिराज महाराज की, श्री राधा रमन जी की। जो हुड़ाहुड़ी नहीं कर सकेगा आज, वो जरूर पाताल लोक में प्रवेश करेगा, क्योंकि अभी जो हो रहा है वो सबसे बड़ा पवित्र उत्सव हो रहा है, निमाय पंडित और विष्णु प्रिया की शादी। The biggest union. They are always one, but devotees they unite and take greatest pleasure. So everybody do it together. तो शर्म क्या कर रहा है? करना तो आराम से कर, तू स्ट्रेस से क्यों कर रहा है? हम तो बिना स्ट्रेस में कर रहे हैं हर बार। हेलो
मुंह से बोल के नहीं होता है।
हाँ Sa.
जी मिलता है तो वो अपने आप आवाज होता है।
Okay.
ये ऐसे लग रहा है जैसे जाकर बाउल कर रहे हैं।
कौन है रे? हैं?
ये लड़की की आवाज होती है।
Who is that person? The chaste woman made auspicious sounds of uludhvani. The singing and playing of musical instruments filled the entire house with ecstasy. In fact, this hula huli jo hai na, in Odisha also, it is only in North Odisha it is there. It is not there in South Odisha.
फोटो काढ अच्छी।
That's all I'm saying. North Odisha, not in South Odisha. After completing the Adivasa ceremony, Sanatana Mishra, the king of Brahmanas, returned home. Meanwhile, the Lord's family members went to the bride's house to perform Adivasa ceremony there. Family members of both the bride and groom also performed the rituals that were in current practice. Early the next morning, the Lord took bath in the Ganges and then worshipped Lord Vishnu. Thereafter, he sat with his family members to perform Nandi Mukha ceremony. Musical instrument, dancing, singing created tumult. On all sides, the sweet sounds of triumphal rejoicing arose. Water pots, rice paddy, yogurt, ghee lamp, mango leaves were placed inside and outside of the house. On all sides, various colored flags waved and strings of mango leaves were tied to banana trees. Mother Sachi and other chaste women then began to perform the various rituals that were in current practice. Sachi first happily worshipped the Ganges. Then she went along with a group of musicians to worship goddess Sasti. After worshipping Sasti, she went to the house of her relatives where she performed the rituals in current practice before returning home. Thereafter, Sachi satisfied the woman with puffed rice, bananas, oil, pan, and vermilion. By the influence of Supreme Lord, all the items multiplied unlimitedly. The Sachi also repeatedly gave the gifts to each woman. The ladies all appeared to have taken bath in oil. There was not a single woman who did not feel complete satisfaction. Meanwhile, in great happiness at the house of Vishnu Priya, her mother performed various rituals in current practice. Oh. As the Raja Pandita here is Sanatana Mishra, the father of Vishnu Priya, gave all his various possessions in charity. He floated in an ocean of bliss. जो चैरिटी नहीं दे सकता है गृहस्थ बनकर, he must be first class idiot. And best charity to give is to distribute, of course, Bhagavad Gita. After completing all the prescribed rituals, Sri Gaurasundara sat down and relaxed for a while. Thereafter, Lord humbly satisfied all the Brahmanas with foodstuffs and cloth. The Lord respectfully gave everyone charity according to their qualification. All the Brahmanas affectionately blessed Vishwambara and went inside his house to eat. As the afternoon approached, everyone began to dress the Lord. The Lord's beautiful limbs were smeared with sandalwood pulp in which aguru had been mixed. His forehead was smeared with sandalwood paste in the shape of a half moon. An enchanted tilaka mark was drawn through it with aguru. So that means you make a complete half moon here, and then you make a nice tilak. He wore a wonderful crown on his head. Fragrant flower garland covered his body. He wore fine yellow cloth with 3 corners tucked in. And his beautiful eyes were decorated with kajal. Durba grass was tied with thread around his right wrist. He held a mirror and a fresh banana leaf in his hands. His ears were adorned with gold earrings. His arms were decorated with various jeweled armlets. In this way, everyone joyfully decorated the Lord's limbs with appropriate items. On seeing the beautifully decorated form of the Lord, all the assembled men and women were overwhelmed and forgot themselves. At mid-afternoon, everyone said, "Now let us begin our auspicious journey. We will pass through the streets of Navadip for a few hours and arrive at the bride's house right at dusk." At that time, Buddhimanta Khan happily brought an exquisite palanquin for the Lord. Musical instruments and singing created a tumult, while the Brahmanas chanted auspicious Vedic mantras. Professional blessers began to recite various prayers. The whole scene appeared as if bliss personified had advented. Lord Gauranga circumambulated his mother and offered obeisances to the Brahmanas. Then, as he got into palanquin, auspicious sounds of joy were heard in all directions. As the women joined in with sounds of uludhani, nothing other than auspicious vibration could be heard. The Lord's procession first proceeded to the bank of Ganges, where half moon was seen overhead. Thousands of lamps were lit and various fireworks were set off. The procession was led by Buddhimanta Khan's infantry, followed by city tax collectors. Then in turn were followed by people carrying various colored flags. Next came a group of jesters who dressed in various costumes. They were followed by diverse groups of dancers who all danced jubilantly. Various musical instruments were played like jaya dhakas, vira dhakas, mridanga, kahalas, kettle drum, snare drums, consel, flute, karatala, barangas, horns, and pancha sabdis. Who can name all the instruments that were played? Millions of children danced along with the music, while Lord watched and smiled. What to speak of the children, even the learned scholars gave up their inhibitions and danced. As they arrived at the bank of Ganges, they sang, danced, and played musical instruments for some time. They showered flowers on the Ganges, offered her obeisances, and then they proceeded to happily move through the streets of Navadip. Everyone was astonished to see the extraordinary marriage procession. Lord in the palanquin as a bridegroom. And it's a scene to relish Mahaprabhu as a bridegroom. Why have to become bridegroom? One may think. Again, he is the absolute truth, he is self-sufficient, he is Atma Rama. They remarked, we have seen large marriages in the past, but we have never seen anything as opulent as this. Pious men and women of Nadia who saw Lord's marriage procession all floated in an ocean of bliss. Those Brahmanas who had beautiful daughters at home simply lamented, "We are most fortunate, so how could we marry our daughters to such a boy? I offer my obeisances unto the residents of Navadip, who are qualified to see such pastimes." In this way, Lord joyfully moved throughout every quarter of Navadip. Then at dusk, the procession arrived at the house of Sanatana Mishra. At that time, there was a tumultuous sound, uludhvani, and the musicians of both parties competed with each other. So one musician party is coming from bridegroom side. The another musician party is there in the bride side. So now when two musician party, two orchestras face to face, so there will be natural rivalry, natural competition. Okay. At that time there was a tumultuous sound of uludhvani, and musicians of both parties competed with each other. Sanatan Mishra came out and greeted the Lord with great respect. He escorted a groom up the palanquin, embraced him, offered him a suitable seat. As Sanatan Mishra showered the groom with flowers, he forgot himself in happiness. Sanatan Mishra brought the appropriate ingredients and sat down to offer welcome to his son-in-law. He duly performed the welcome ceremony by offering Padya, Arghya, Achamanya, cloth and ornaments. Then Sanatana Mishra's wife and other ladies also welcomed the groom according to prescribed regulations. She first placed durba grass and rice paddy on the head of the Lord. Then she offered him arati with a ghee lamp of 7 weeks. They showered the Lord with puffed rice paddy and coins while uttering sound of triumph. This way all the rituals in the current practice were performed. Vishnu Priya, who was nicely decorated, was then carried on a seat to the marriage arena. Thereafter, Lord's relatives joyfully lifted him by raising his seat. Following current practice, the Lord was blindfolded with a cloth. The bride was made to circumambulate him 7 times. After circumambulation, Vishnu Priya came before the Lord and offered him obeisances. All the ladies then showered flowers on the couple, and the 2 groups of musicians began to play. As the men and women all offered loud praise from all sides, it appeared as though the personification of happiness had incarnated there. The universal mother Vishnu Priya then offered a flower garland to the Lord and surrendered herself at his lotus feet. Then Gaura Chandra sweetly smiled as he offered a flower garland to Vishnu Priya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thereafter, Lakshmi and Narayana happily showered flowers on each other. Unseen by common people, the demigods headed by Brahma joyfully showered flowers on the couple. Then the associates of bride lifted her, the associates of groom lifted him in the joyous competition over who could lift higher. So there are some tighter moments of rituals. Bride being lifted by the groom side and groom is being lifted by the bride side. I have seen some rituals where they will pull each other in mud. So they will make a pool of mud completely. And all relatives, one another, they will come and pull. Particularly ladies, they will target one. They themselves, they know we will target this fellow. And when that fellow is alone, immediately they make a noise and all ladies will be together, lift that fellow, put him, throw him mercilessly onto that mud. And after he falls down, he doesn't know what happened. And these ladies will go and throw all the mud on him. No, because he can't see. Everywhere there is mud. Eyes, mouth, mustache, everything. His dhoti, kurta, everything is eating mud. Actually, these are necessary. Because all these rituals is not there, what has happened? Like, we entered into, so this is the concept of good touch and bad touch. So there is a process by which we can have a good touch. So when you don't do that, you enter into bad touch. Okay. So, but in Krishna consciousness, for us, always remain away from matter. Just focus on Krishna consciousness. But this cannot be, this cannot be done for everyone. Society is not Krishna conscious total. So there has to be a system. And these systems were there where the families were joint families. There are enough occasions where people could touch each other properly, enjoy each other's company, and be satisfied. There is a psychophysical satisfaction. So that system is necessary for a healthy society. One moment the associates of Lord would win, the next moment associates of Vishnu Priya would win. It means who will raise whom higher, right? The people would smile as they inform the Lord of the results because he is blindfolded. Who? Nimai Pandit. The Lord smiles sweetly in reciprocation. In this way, everyone, they are floated in the ocean of ecstasy. Thousands of torches illuminated the arena. Nothing could be heard other than singing and playing of musical instruments. At the time when bride and groom exchanged glances, the tumultuous sound of music filled the entire universe. Imagine in that confidential kunja, and Radha and Krishna are united by Lalita, Vishakha and other Sakhis. And union of Radha and Krishna. This is the topic that was being discussed by Gaur Govind Maharaj before he left his body. In fact, while speaking this very bhava, he left his body. So, that is the greatest ecstasy for a soul. Hamara kya hai? We are very ordinary, extremely ordinary. But our ordinarity or ordinariness is exemplified when we completely accept and live the principle of Krishna consciousness, that Krishna is extraordinarily all-pervading, all-inclusive, full of all rasa. So his happiness is my happiness. Then you will have no stress. Krishna's happiness is your happiness. We need to make this our goal. So I'm reading this again. Mukha Chandrikara Moha Vadya Jaya Dhvani Sakala Brahmande Prasile Kahena Suni. At the time when the bride and groom exchanged glances, the tumultuous sound of music filled the entire universe. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Vishnu Priya ke Jai. Sri Sri Vishnu Priya Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ke Jai. Sri Sri Lakshmi Narayan ke Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna ke Jai. Sri Sri Sita Ram ke Jai. Sri Sri Radha Gopinath ke Jai. Sri Sri Radha Madhav ke Jai. Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan ke Jai. Sri Sri Radha Govind Dev ke Jai. Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Ji ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Shyam Sundar ke Jai. Sri Sri Radha Raman Ji ke Jai. Sri Sri Radha Gokulananda ke Jai. After exchanging glances, Sri Gaura Sundara sat down with Vishnu Priya. At that time, the ecstatic Sri Sanatana Mishra sat down to offer his daughter in marriage. Following Vedic injunctions, Sanatana Mishra offered Lord Padya Arghya Achamanya. Then he chanted the prescribed mantras for giving his daughter in marriage. With the desire to please Lord Vishnu, Sanatana Mishra then offered his daughter in sacred hands of the Lord. He thereafter joyfully gave cows, land, bedding, servants and maid servants to the couple. Sanatana Mishra invited Vishnu Priya to sit on the Lord's left side, then began to perform the fire sacrifice. After performing the rituals prescribed by Vedas and local custom, Sanatana Mishra took the couple inside the house. Vaikuntha manifested in the house of Sanatana Mishra. Finally, they all sat to take their meal. After taking their meal, the Supreme Lord and his wife joyfully spent the auspicious night together. Who can describe the happiness enjoyed by Sanatana Mishra and his family members? Kings of past like Nagnajit, Janaka, Bhismaka and Jambavan all experienced good fortune. That same good fortune was now experienced by Sanatana Mishra and his family due to the previous service of Lord Vishnu. Next morning, the most fortunate Sanatana Mishra executed all the necessary traditional rituals. In the afternoon, when it was time for the Lord to return home, the musicians, singer and dancers began their performance. The sounds of joy filled with all directions. The ladies joined in by making auspicious sounds of uludhvani. The Brahmanas offered their blessings by reciting verses appropriate for an auspicious journey. The musicians competitively played their dhakas, kettle drums, sainai, badangas, kartalas. Lord offered his obeisances to the respectful persons there, sat on the palanquin in Vishnu Priya, and the best of the Brahmanas departed along with his associates, while everyone chanted Hari Hari. Everyone who saw the Lord on the way glorified him with appropriate words. The lady said she is very fortunate. She must have served Lakshmi Parvati for many lifetimes. Someone said they look just like Shiva and Parvati, while someone else said they just look like Lakshmi and Lord Hari. Another person said that this couple look like just Kamadeva and Rati. Someone said they look like Indra and Sachi. Someone else said they look like Rama and Sita. In this way, all the pious ladies talked amongst themselves in their own way. The men and women of Nadia were so fortunate that they were able to see the opulence of Lord Krishna and his consort. By the auspicious glance of Lakshmi Narayana, all the people of Nadia became happy in all respects. Whenever we observe Krishna, we should be stress-free. The fact is that we are stressful means we are not observing Krishna. We are not allowing Krishna to enter us. अब देखो पांचाल उधर ऐसे बैठाया है जैसे कि वो 10 करोड़ की केजी की वो है, ऐसे कैसा होगा? खड़े हो जा रहे, पीछे जाके खड़े हो जा रहे, ऐसे बैठ जाता है, ये क्या हो रहा है? इतना दुखी क्यों हो? दुख किस बात की है? As the Lord's marriage party passed through the streets, they danced, sang, and played musical instruments, showered flowers in great ecstasy. At an auspicious moment, the Lord and Vishnu Priya arrived home in a merry mood. Now, 3 days back, when we came to know that one fellow has become corona positive, who has entered into our lab, and so many people, so many people directly contacted him. It's like a cacophony. I have to call the Pandey, Upendra Pandey, and everybody's test was done. What is the rapid antigen test? Everybody's test was done. And exactly same time, I could feel that I am suffering. My body is paining. I don't know. All 3 days, how I am active, I don't know even. And the amount, the kind of medicine that Dr. Neeraj Singh has given, wow, it's so powerful. Extremely powerful medicine. I don't know how I am digesting that. Today in the morning, I felt as if I will not die. I will not live. And still, I don't think that we missed any Abhishekam. Today also morning, evening class also we had. Morning class we had. So, and anything happens to you, feel that as if you have corona.
Corona consciousness of it.
So, yesterday we gave the class, right? That dealing with stress. Yeah, we gave the class dealing with stress. It's such heavy dose of medicine. Wow. People take even more heavy dose medicine. Oh. For more than 2 years, I had no medicine. Suddenly, so many medicines. So, don't be बैठ जा भागवतम क्लास में बैठकर दुखी नहीं बनना चाहिए। किस बात की दुख है भाई? तो तुझे जाना है न्यूयॉर्क जा, तुझे कोई मना कर रहा है? तुझे कोई रोक के रखा है? मेरे जहां करना है, जहां पे खुदकुशी करना है वहीं पे जा। मगर 664 में क्यों? 664 में लोग आते हैं टू डांस, टू सिंग, टू बी हैप्पी, टू बी स्ट्रेस फ्री।
सुना 664 वालों ने ठेका लिया है दूसरों का दूर करके।
Thereupon Mother Sachi and other chaste women joyfully welcomed their daughter-in-law home. As Lakshmi Narayana sat inside the house, the whole house was filled with sounds of joy. The ecstasy that was experienced there is beyond words. Therefore, who can describe its glories? Anyone who sees the marriage ceremony of the Supreme Lord is freed from all sinful reactions and returns to Vaikuntha. Bolo Vishnu Priya Gauranga Mahaprabhu ke Jai! Shri Shri Radha Krishna ke Jai! Shri Shri Sita Ram ke Jai! Shri Shri Lakshmi Narayana ke Jai! Because the Lord allowed everyone to see his marriage is known as Dayamaya, he who is most merciful, and Dinanatha, he who is the Lord of the fallen. Thereafter, Lord satisfied everyone, the dancers, the professional blessers, the beggars with cloth, money, and sweet words. Lord also happily gave cloth to each of the Brahmanas, relatives, and friends. Then the Lord mercifully embraced Buddhimanta Khan, who felt such ecstasy that it is beyond all description. Although the Vedas describe the Lord's appearance and disappearance, there is actually no end to his pastimes. Who has the ability to describe in 100 years the pastimes the Lord performs in a half hour? I have accepted the order of Nityananda Sarupa on my head. By his mercy, I am briefly writing about these pastimes. Whoever reads or hears these pastimes of Supreme Lord certainly associates with Lord Dorachandra. accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul. I Vrindavan Das, so sing the glories of the lotus feet. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki
Jai.
Srimati Vishnu Priya Devi ki
Jai.
Vishnu Priya Devi Chaitanya Mahaprabhu marriage ceremony Maha Mahotsav ki
Jai.
Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari. Dear devotees, I'm going a little fast because the devotees want me to start in the evening Bhagavatam class. So my job is, I'm thinking that I will finish this Adi Lila and part 2, and we'll have the quiz test, and then we will have Bhagavatam every day at 7 o'clock in the evening. But we have 2 more chapters, 16th and 17th chapter. 16th chapter is Glories of the Haridas Thakur. So tomorrow we will start this chapter. Once we finish these 2 chapters, we'll have quiz. Like we had a quiz for the first part, second part quiz will be there, and then we'll switch to Bhagavatam. So thank you very much. Any question anybody has? Arey, Binayak Goyal is there. This Binayak Goyal, I don't want to chastise him today, because after probably 1 kalpa I am seeing him. Let him be happy. So if I chastise him, I'll go to hell. Okay, who is saying what? Santosh. In South India, especially in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, there is regular marriage ceremony between Lord and the energy. This is celebrated as a great festival. Is there any reason for not conducting such ceremonies in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, sir? Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya emphasizes in Sankirtan movement. We have Tulasi Saligram marriage, but our emphasis has been on doing Sankirtan, loud Sankirtan, everybody dancing, their hands reaching the rooftop, legs in the air, and completely stress-free. I've seen in Singapore, these Bengali devotees, they came in the Sunday program. A small boys, they look like 15, 16-year-old because they have become devotee. They are not looking very old. And when Gaura Arati started, the way they started dancing, as if you felt that Golok Vrindavan has descended. So that is our, that is the emphasis Gaudiya Vaishnavism gives. But we always take pleasure in marrying Lakshmi Narayan, no doubt about it. Next. YouTube has YouTube also, there are people. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing this nectar, Prabhu. I am really inspired to see your consistent preaching. Please bless me so that I may also preach vigorously in Srila Prabhupada's mission. Saurabh, thank you very much. Please preach. Please take this. He's saying, further he's saying, I am from Churu district of Rajasthan. Please guide us how we can preach in our local surrounding. A lot of negative pressure from society and surrounding, even can't wear devotee attire. Why? Please talk to me personally. Let me hear. Okay, contact our Mukunda, Madhusudan Prabhu, and I will have a talk to you, and we will make sure that in Churu we will have a massive Sankirtan. Let us have a massive Sankirtan in Churu. Okay? We are not afraid of doing Sankirtan. We'll come in a bus to Churu from Kanpur. Sankirtan procession. Okay, Hare Krishna. Haribol. Reddy is asking, sir, please help understand difference between meaning and uses of the following words. Brahmana, Parabrahman, and not as a Brahman, Brahmana, they are two different things. Brahman, Parabrahman, Brahmajyoti. Brahman and Brahmajyoti, what is the difference in meaning? No difference. Brahman and Parabrahman both refer to impersonal aspect. Now, Parabrahman is Parabrahman is Krishna and Brahman is his Jyoti. Parabrahman also refers to Paramatma. Sir, when one has seen so many sorrows from his or her childhood, he himself thinks that life is unfair to him. How she or he remain positive in his future life? You should attend our de-stressing session on Sunday, coming Sunday. So please attend that session. We will give some tips how to do that. And then there is one more question probably. No, there is no more question. Okay. Thank you very much. This is 9 o'clock. We have to go to bed. Early to bed, early to rise. Early to bed, early to rise. Makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. So let's go to bed. Hare Krishna.